What happened yesterday? He said a lot yesterday. I mean, and if you weren't paying attention, it was a lot. All right.
Yeah.
Hello, Austin, Texas. You're listening to the Home Team with Troy and Wyatt, where we bring sports and money together for your education and entertainment. If you have any questions about anything we say, please reach out to me at loansfromtroy.com, or you can give me a call at 855-299-HOME. And as always, this segment is brought to you by Security National Mortgage, where we turn houses into homes by financing
Your
American Dream.
So we're getting, the American dream has been tough. I mean, it's always been there, right? It's you work hard, you get paid back, right? We're just having to work harder, and it was people weren't used to that, right? It was pretty easy there for a little bit, right? Things were easy. It seemed like
It's like Gen Z easy.
In our industry, specifically, it was not easy. It was a lot of work, but we worked a lot shorter amounts of time to make the same amount of money we are now. But we had some breaking news yesterday. The feds are kind of seeing a little bit of light at the tunnel.
Yeah, he basically, Jerome Powell, who is probably my seventh least most paid for person in the world.
Seven?
Yeah, there's a lot in front of him.
I hope I'm not before him. All right.
I don't really tell anybody other than
other
than Jerome that he's seventh.
Okay.
But he came out yesterday and said, as far as inflation, we do see light at the end of the tunnel, and we're pretty sure it's not a train, right?
Pretty sure.
Okay. Right? So he did say that one of the things that they do foresee is there is a possibility of 3 rate cuts next year.
3 rate cuts.
Yeah.
So is that
next year?
Is that a quarterly thing, or it's an arbitrary?
It's just they meet
certain criteria.
But they meet 9 times in the year.
Okay.
I think 9 times, 8 times. I can't, so they meet and they decide, right? But he's saying there could be, up to 3 is what he's saying. But he's also said, he's being very careful. He said there could be none. And the possibility of raising is still there. So he's not saying we're past it, but he is saying that things are moving in the right direction.
So he saw people just giving up hope altogether. He's giving them a glimmer of hope back to him. He's like, I don't want to kill everyone's spirit right off the bat.
Yeah.
I think they're about dead inside. So let's just give them a glimmer of hope. That's basically what he's doing.
Well, the thing he said yesterday that no one was expecting is he said that the rate cuts could begin before we hit our targeted 2%.
Oh, wow.
So it's always, all he's talked about is 2%, 2%, 2%. And so some of us are like, is it 2.99? Is it 2.0? Is it, is it 2.5? I mean,
right.
is it before 2? Is it, we have to hit 2? There's been a lot of confusion as to what that meant. We all just knew it was a target 2%, right? He said that over and over, but he said yesterday, or, he said in his last meeting that rates cuts could come before the acquired 2%, which means they will be reading some of the tea leaves from the data, because the data today is from 60 days ago, right? The solid data we're reading today is from 60 days ago. So
why is that in this day and age?
It just takes that long to compile it, and then they compile it at the like we get last month's data, and then next month we get revised last month's data. That's when it's accurate, right? Once it's been revised, right? Okay. So like everybody hears about the headline jobs report, 120,000 jobs added, and then the next year revised down 12,000, only 108 added. Things like that. Those are the numbers that
right.
But they're 60 days old. So he's finally admitted that they've been watching lagging data, and that they will be watching leading indicators, right?
Okay.
Which is nice. It's good. I mean, the stock market closed above 37,000 for the first time ever. I mean, it was huge day. I mean, huge. The mortgages dropped 0.5% yesterday.
So that's great. 0.5%.
0.5%.
So where are they at right now?
They're in the mid 6s to low 7s, just kind of depending.
It's gonna be crazy in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of things have changed because of that. So what I felt was going to happen in March may actually start happening in January because of the data that came out yesterday.
That would make a good start of the year for me, Troy.
For everybody.
I think that little glimmer of hope is nice for all of us. To run into the new year thinking that it might be a good year.
And for everybody that has been holding on but they didn't know when, They were now all of a sudden they're like, hey, this second quarter could be the time to sell, right? Like, hey,
Right.
we've been trying to get out of this house, but it's just been, so now the second quarter. So the time to buy is in adverse to that. The time to buy is like right now, because by the second quarter.
Right.
I mean, and once the news gets out that rates are in the six, low sixes with no cost, that is when all these pre-qualified people are coming back out, because 6% is a very standard doable rate.
Yeah. So I mean, to buy this is the time.
Yeah, I mean, 7.5%, 8%, 9%. It's harder to buy at that number just because it knocks you out. But now in the 6%, you're in a normal rate, and there's a shot that there'll be a drop to 5%, and you can refinance in a year or two. But you know what I'm saying. But you don't need to at that point.
Right.
You're saving $100 a month. When it went from 6 to 3, you were saving $600 you had to refinance.
Right.
When it goes from 6 to 5, you're saving $100 you might not refinance.
Right.
But the ability to then start tapping that equity in your home
Right off the bat, it's more than
becomes
$100.
available.
Yeah.
Because now all of a sudden, if you can keep your house payment the same and you can pay off all your debt, you're doing really well.
Right.
Whereas right now it costs you a few $100s to several $100s to raise your house payment to pay off all your debt. So there's lots of things that this changes. But like I said, first off, we were thinking that it was first part of second quarter is when all this was going to happen, right? But now it appears that the rates have moved down. They're very comfortable. The stock market, the bond market, everybody took the news very well yesterday.
Well, I just took a couple steps back from the edge. This is good news, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just everybody's been staying on that edge, right?
Yeah.
That edge of going, what is going on? What am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
This is great news. It's great news for me. It's great news for the United States and for the economy. So I'm excited about it. That's great news.
Yeah. Now they haven't stopped doing anything, right? So there's still some.
Right.
There's still some pain coming. They're just not going to turn the dial up anymore. They're just not going to turn the heat up on it. They're going to let it naturally cook out, as opposed to just keep quick dry.
They're just twisting the knife. They've already stabbed you. They're just twisting it.
Or maybe they're just letting it sit at this point. They're not twisting it anymore.
They're not suturing it up. Right?
Yeah.
So, well, that's good news. It's good news for everyone out there who's looking for a home. It's great news. This is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
And the fact that it came into the sixes, y'all, that is. I remember when we started this radio show. And we started getting the low sixes. We're like, this is amazing. Like, are you kidding me? This has never happened before. And so this is just, 3.5, 4 years ago?
Yeah.
That was a fantastic rate. It's still a fantastic rate. And compared to 2%, 2.5, 2.99, again, we don't want that. It's a fantastic rate. It's a doable rate. You can get into a good house that way. And again, building equity is so much more important than renting, and don't worry about it.
Yeah, and I talk to people all the time about stuff like that, and I'm like, listen, it took a once in 100-year pandemic for that to happen, so it's probably not going to happen.
Hopefully not. Right? We don't want that to happen.
And, so, but with that being said, the average home buyer, right?
Right.
The average American, because remember, 70% of America has no savings, right? 70% of America can live month to month, right? And that person needs to purchase a home because they need to build equity so that they can create their own savings, right?
Right.
That person is the one that, unfortunately, in the greater Austin area, needs to be buying right now, right? And then let us refinance in a year and a half or two, whatever. But getting in the house now, because in 6 months or so, when the market starts moving again, the average home buyer is going to be competing against the Austin intruder, I guess is the best way to call it. And I call them transplants, who bring in, they sell, higher end homes, bring in cash. They bring in higher income jobs from other areas, and then they outbid people.
Well, and the other problem we have, in this growing city is these conglomerates that come in and buy houses for their, personal use, actually, to rent out. And I'm not against people doing that, but they're doing it more and more. So that is taking more and more houses off the market for families and making them into business. Because when they resell them, they stay in their portfolio. They sell as a portfolio. They don't go back out onto the market. So you know that's also something that's happening.
Yeah, and, you know, and with the
Buy a house before they do it.
yeah, what's the word? The all of the restrictions and the covenants and things like that
Yeah.
that the city has.
Right.
It's very difficult to build. You know, so
Right.
they've done some things to allow you to add homes, but you can't build homes.
Right.
So it goes through a lot of hoops, a lot of permitting and things like that. So it's difficult. So you have to move kind of outside of Austin to be able to get sort of buildings and things like that. So there,
Yeah.
you know, there's the housing shortages here, and that's what I'm saying is that
It's
av-
everywhere. It's in the United States.
Yeah.
Period.
yeah, but the average buyer, which we're talking to 70% of America,
Yeah.
they need to do something before the market kicks back off, not
Absolutely.
after. And
Absolutely.
so that's who we're working with right now. We're like, oh, every loan's hard right now. Well, that's because we're working with the average buyer who in a year from now can't buy a home in this area.
No, they're not going to.
You know, and you're going to think there are a lot of people that live in South Austin or East Austin and are selling their homes, making a lot of money selling their homes because they've lived there for years and years and years. So you can get a home now, live there for years and years and years, and then sell it for a lot of money.
Right.
You know, because the market's only going up.
Well, it's an exciting time. If you're waiting for 6 months, you're going to be saying, "Why didn't I do it now?"
Yeah, and you know, I have learned one thing in the real estate business is that the best time to buy was always last year.
It's always yesterday. Yeah, right. You
Every time, it's always last year.
It's very true. And as I've been in the industry, I didn't know that. So it's okay that you don't know that, but if you sit down in our chairs and we sit on a daily basis, it's a very true statement.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of outer area speculation of the Austin housing market. You know, I saw one, Austin's going to lose 17% in value. There's not enough homes here to lose 17% of value. There's just not enough. The law of supply and demand will not allow that kind of a drop.
And our economy's not that bad.
No, and we're about to come right out of it too.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, you've been listening to the Home Team with Troy and Wyatt. We hope you've enjoyed what you've heard. If you have any questions about anything we just said, please reach out to me at loansfromtroy.com or you can give me a call at 855-299-HOME. And as always, this segment is brought to you by Security National Mortgage, where we turn houses into homes by financing
Your
American Dream. And we will see you in just a minute.